After being reborn, I avoided every single invitation from Oliver. When he went to play pool, I hit the books. When he headed to the internet cafe, I found ways to study harder. At the graduation dinner, he was all lovey-dovey with the campus queen. I stood in the crowd and cheered them on, telling them to kiss. He finally realized something was off. "You're not mad?" I smiled and took a step back. "I just hope you can stay with your campus queen forever, like in our last life. This time, I got into college. I'm not going to rot in the mud with you again." Chapter 1. No one knew how I felt when I opened my eyes and saw the textbooks. At first, I thought it was a dream, but the sticky summer air and the spicy sweet smell of snack sticks jolted my nerves. Didn't feel like a dream. After marrying Oliver, he had sweet-talked me into taking out countless online loans. We couldn't even pay the water and electricity bills. I couldn't remember the last time I had eaten junk food. Then that tall figure holding a basketball in front of me. "I'm going out to eat with the guys tonight. You coming?" That familiar voice made my heart jolt. I looked up and stared at Oliver. No, not the middle-aged version of him. He was still wearing what was trendy back then, a striped tank top, low-slung jeans with a chain. Maybe I had zoned out too long. The class beauty suddenly laughed. She nudged my chair with her foot. "Oliver asked you something. Why are you just sitting there like a statue?" I snapped out of it, but I couldn't even force a fake smile. "I'm not going." Oliver looked surprised. He didn't say anything. He simply turned and walked out. The class beauty followed after him. "Luna's always so antisocial. What's her deal? Thinks she can get into college or something?" From the hallway, I heard the echo of a basketball slamming into the wall. Oliver's voice came through, annoyed. "Let her pretend. She's probably just jealous I'm walking with you. Hee, like she's anybody important." Chapter 2. In this era, Oliver was the definition of a prince, good-looking, athletic, and his phone was fancier than even the homeroom teachers, a flip Samsung. Every girl in school, secretly or not, was trying to get close to him. Before Camilla transferred in, I was the only girl around him, not by choice. Back then, kids from small towns had such narrow horizons. Everyone thought owning a small spicy hot pot shop in the future would already be living the dream. No worries about food or money. But when that dream came true, life meant stirring beef noodles in a steaming pot under 42 degrees Celsius heat. The steam stung your eyes till you couldn't open them. 13 you on a bowl. The money went straight to Oliver's phone through the QR code. At night, he'd come back reeking of alcohol, bragging about how much he lost gambling. I'd say the utilities were overdue. He'd wave me off impatiently and tell me to figure it out. But what could I do? Until one day the rent expired, too. The landlord came to kick us out. I begged her to give us more time, but they barged in and dragged out everything from the shop. I tried to stop them. A knife Oliver had hidden fell from a shelf and smashed right into my face. In that final moment, my only thought was, maybe it's better this way, this festering life of mine. But I was reborn. The countdown on the blackboard showed 127 days left. This time, I'll change my fate. Chapter 3. I opened the workbook and suddenly realized that even though I'd taken the college entrance exam once, too much time had passed. I couldn't remember a single question. Even the numbers in these prep books felt foreign, like Oliver's daily nonsense, spawn camping, whirlwind kicks. I didn't get it. Chapter 4. 2 classes went by. I tried to follow along, and when I didn't understand something, I wrote down everything the teacher said, hoping I could figure it out later. Evening self-study was quiet until Oliver pushed open the door, tossed his basketball on the seat beside him, and gave me a glance, deliberate or not. Then he slumped over his desk, covering his head with his school jacket. The classroom returned to silence. Only the sound of pens scratching against paper. Suddenly, the class beauty turned around. Resting her head on Oliver's desk, she lowered her voice. "Oliver, can I borrow your MP3 for a bit?" He didn't move. Camilla gently lifted the edge of his jacket, carefully taking one of his earbuds. "Come on, Oliver, just for a little while." Oliver suddenly sat up, looked at her, then frowned and glanced at me. And that's when I remembered what day it was, my birthday, music, in the last life. We went out to eat after school. On the way back, he handed me his MP3. Here. You asked me for it this morning. But before I could even J-Hope song, Camilla borrowed it away again. Just like in that past life. She kept borrowing money from Oliver. He handed her the cash I had worked so hard to earn. Even tucked her hair behind her ear like it was something romantic. Don't worry. If there's anything wrong, just tell me. I'll help you. Yeah, Oliver always regretted marrying me. If only he had married Camilla, he could have taken her to all those glitzy social events. She was pretty. She'd make him look good. That's why he brushed off my resistance, kicked my calf with disgust. We're only in high school and you're already throwing yourself at me? Luna, how could you be so shameless when you were young? Chapter 5. The shameful memories made me tremble uncontrollably until a basketball rolled to a stop by my foot. I snapped out of it, looked at Oliver. The boy stood there, a little arrogant in his posture. He frowned. I'm the one who said yes first, Luna. Don't you want to hear me out? Camilla stared at me. Her face looked awful. I turned away. I didn't want anything to do with them anymore. No need. I had more important things to do. But I had forgotten life was too easy in 2025. In this era, people didn't need a reason to pick a fight. During a break in evening study, Camilla blocked my path. Her eyes fierce. You're lucky Oliver protects you. You actually dared to borrow the MP3? If you break it, can you even afford it? I said nothing. She yanked my workbook and tore it apart, then sneered, if you tell Oliver, you're dead. Chapter 6. Everyone in class turned to look at me. It should have been humiliating, but I had already gotten used to being stared at in my last life. Silently, I picked up my workbook, carefully patched the torn pages together, then looked up at her. 50 cents for the notebook. Will you pay me or should I go ask Oliver? She froze. What did you say? I spoke sincerely and calmly, stretching out my hand. This costs money. 50 cents. You should pay me. If not, I'll have to tell Oliver. He was probably at the billiard hall again, but I could find him. Clearly, Camilla understood the situation, too. She gritted her teeth and fumbled in her pocket, pulling out a yellow coin. Cheap loser. Pathetic. Here, take it. She slammed the coin onto the wooden desk. It rolled off and fell to the ground. I picked it up. I'd forgotten how long it had been since I last held money in my hand. I looked at her sincerely. Thank you. She rolled her eyes. Psycho. Chapter 7. Yes, I was a cheap loser. Ever since my mom gave birth to my little brother, I wasn't allowed to touch any of the family money. One time, my brother had a fever. The whole family rushed him to the hospital. I was so hungry I nearly passed out. The only place open was the spicy skewer shop next door. Oliver was watching a drama on Hunan TV, Heaven's Wedding Gown. When he saw me, he hurried to block the screen. Pick your own skewers. I was starving. Even though I knew he had a temper and could fight, I stuffed the iron basket full anyway. Once the vegetables and mushrooms hit the pot, I swallowed my pride and whispered, I don't have any money. He stared. What? You want to eat for free? I trembled. Can I work to pay you back? He looked me up and down. You're the eldest daughter from the next building, right? Uh-huh. Young Oliver, surprisingly, showed some kindness. He scooped out the cooked noodles and vegetables. You can't eat for free. From now on, you're my little sister. In that moment, I really thought I was the heroine of a TV drama, thought I'd found salvation at the moment I needed help. Oliver gave me a bowl of spicy noodles. 3 yuan a bowl. I couldn't afford it. So before the college exam, when he asked me to go to the internet cafe and promised I'd have all the beef noodles I could eat, I believed him. In that cramped room, I ruined myself. Chapter 8. When I got home, the light in my parents' room was still on. My little brother was crying nonstop. Dad was snoring. Mom leaned against the wall, murmuring softly to comfort him. Her eyes half closed with exhaustion. In my last life, I used to think every woman was supposed to live like this. After she met Camilla, my mom cried and hugged me. We women were just meant to accept our fate. No, this is not my fate. Chapter 9. 100 or so days. Time was tight. I sat in the noise of crying, flipping through the notes I still couldn't understand. If I didn't get it once, I read it again. The content from just a few short lessons. I reviewed until dawn began to break. Finally, I stirred some faint memory buried in my body. I had studied this once. I just never gave it my full heart. Early in the morning, I made porridge for the whole family and drank 2 bowls myself before they woke up. When I stepped out of the house, I ran into Oliver head-on. Again, no way to avoid him. He stared at me, then suddenly asked, "Why didn't you come find me at the pool hall yesterday?" The man who ruined my life, then blamed me for not knowing how to respect myself. How could I not hate him? But more than that, I understood one thing clearly. He wasn't someone I could afford to offend. With his influence, he could easily make me a pariah at first high. 126 days left. I took a deep breath, forcing tears to rise in my eyes. Camilla told me to keep my distance from you. He frowned, thought for a moment. You don't have to listen to her. I followed behind Oliver. Not too close, not too far. Always about 1 m between us. Music, I wasn't pretty, but he still ended up marrying me. I racked my brain and figured out the only reason why. Pity. Chapter 10. I kept my head down the whole way to school. When we got there, someone had already bought breakfast for Oliver. Meat buns and a tea egg. He fiddled with the bag for a moment, then tossed the tea egg onto my desk, like he was doing me a favor. Eat. Camilla stopped applying her eyeliner. She turned her head and drawled, "Oliver, I bought you that breakfast." Then she glanced at me. "Luna, are you that hungry?" Oliver pulled a 5 yuan bill from his pocket and shoved it at her, impatient. "Here's your money." Camilla shut up. She took the bill and smiled as she pocketed it. "There's some left over. I'll bring you breakfast again tomorrow." I picked up the tea egg, took a deep breath, and stuffed it into my bag. I'd be starving by evening study. I needed the energy. Oliver had wasted my hard work for so long. This was just a small debt he owed me. His routine was always the same. Sleep until the break bell rang, then skip class. After 2 lessons, he woke up and threw a crumpled paper ball at my head, going to the net cafe later. "You coming?" I had just solved a tough question. The thrill still bubbled in my chest, but at his voice, a chill of fear slammed into me. The smell of instant noodles and tobacco, the searing pain. I shot to my feet and shouted, "I'm not going." "I don't want to." Oliver frowned. "What's your problem?" Camilla looked over, too. Panicking, I lowered my head and covered my paper. "I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else." I got scared. Camilla giggled into her hand. "Please. Other than Oliver, who here would even look at you?" Oliver looked away, uninterested. He didn't suspect a thing. Soon, a few other boys came over, talking about where to go later. There was a new net cafe, more expensive, but faster internet and thinner monitors. Camilla praised him. "Oliver's headshot rate is 75%. That's insane." In a forgotten corner, I whispered to myself again and again, "Centrifugal force. 320.86623.866, Chapter 11. Even though I'd been through the college entrance exam once before, digging up knowledge buried in memory for years was still exhausting. Reality isn't like novels. In senior year, if you humble yourself and ask questions, no one really wants to help. So, I gathered a few problems I truly couldn't understand and knocked on the homeroom teacher's door. He looked a bit surprised. "You need something?" He glanced at the questions I'd written out and smiled. "What's this? Luna turning over a new leaf?" I took a deep breath. "Oliver told me to ask. He said I should learn it so I can teach him later." The teacher's face instantly brightened. He licked his finger and flipped through the problems. "That kid, if he wants to know, why doesn't he just come ask himself?" Oliver's family had some connections. Using his name, I was finally able to begin understanding the material bit by bit. "Thank you, sir." I stepped out, quietly closing the door behind me. My fists were clenched tightly. I had to get out of this place, whatever it takes. Chapter 12. That night, our family actually stir-fried some shredded pork for once. I tried to reach for it, but Mom slapped my chopsticks away. "That's for your dad. You're just a kid. Stop eyeing everything." So, I filled my bowl with plain celery and ate a full bowl of rice before getting chased out to do the dishes. While I washed, Mom rambled on and on. "Just hurry and graduate. If it weren't for getting you some diploma, you'd have been working for 3 years already, bringing in money for the family. A high school girl can bring in a big bride price, you know." My future had already been planned out for me. That's why I fought so hard to escape. Why I married Oliver so early. This time, I quietly stacked the dishes. "Mom, it's almost over. Don't worry. No meat to eat." Of course, I was starving again by night. I sneaked out the tea egg and devoured it in gulps. It got stuck in my throat. I choked so hard, tears streamed down my face. I can get out of here, right? I can, right? Chapter 13. Early morning again. I somehow ended up walking with Oliver, like fate I couldn't escape. He stared at me. "The teacher called my house last night, said I've been studying hard lately." A chill rushed through my entire body. Oliver stepped closer. "Luna, you're not seriously planning to leave, are you?" Trembling, I nodded. "I just want to try. Otherwise, I don't know how to repay you." He froze. "Repay me?" "Yes, that bowl of spicy noodles and the tea egg, they saved my life." I lowered my head. "If I don't work hard, how else could I ever thank you? Oliver, I don't want to be like the others, pretending to be close to you while sucking you dry. I feel sorry for you." I didn't know what other way I had to study in peace under his watchful eyes. The only thing I could do was gamble on his hero complex. 18-year-old Oliver's face changed again and again. He looked at me with such a complex expression that it blurred into something unreadable. "You girls, are you all crazy or what?" Suddenly, I exhaled in relief. I knew I'd won this round. Chapter 14. Camila bought him meat buns again. No tea egg this time. I didn't even know what kind of meat it was, but the aroma spread through the whole classroom. I swallowed hard and kept working through the exercises on my desk. Sometimes, Camila would walk with other girls. And when they passed me, they'd giggle and say, "Can you believe there's someone who can't even afford a tea egg?" Fortunately, it was only verbal bullying. As long as I didn't respond, I could still find a moment to breathe. I memorized vocabulary, kept solving problems. At noon, I swallowed a hard, dry steamed bun with water, pretending I had Oliver's approval. I could bother the homeroom teacher during his lunch break. I was learning more and more. Luckily, Camila was busy chasing after Oliver, following him to the internet cafes, watching him play games. She barely had time to pick on me. 67 days until the exam. Suddenly, one of Oliver's guys stopped me. He flicked the lighter in his hand up and down. "Oliver said you better ditch class later. Go find him at the SpeedNet cafe." At that moment, my mind raced. In the previous life, it was that day. My face went pale. The stench of instant noodles mixed with smoke rushed back into my nose from memory. I started shaking uncontrollably. The guy got annoyed, scraping his sneakers against the concrete. "Hey, I'm talking to you, Luna. Oliver's waiting at the cafe. Don't waste his time." Chapter 15. That time of day was exactly when their group had just found access to some shady websites. Most of them didn't have the guts to try anything, but Oliver did. Especially with someone like me, who had no backing, no one to protect her. Camila walked out of the classroom just in time to hear them. She scoffed. "Finally got your chance, huh? Luna acting all high and mighty now?" She turned and went back into the room. Didn't say a word. Instead, she stood in front of the mirror, carefully fixing her bangs for a while. When she came back out, she brushed past me deliberately, bumping into my shoulder. "Get out of the way." She was headed straight for the part of the wall students used to sneak off campus. And in that instant, I understood what Camila was about to do. "Camila." She turned around. What? I clenched my fists, my fingernails digging deep into both palms. A boy nearby clicked his tongue, irritated. You going or not? What are you even acting for? Camila rolled her eyes. Psycho. She swung her hair smugly as she walked away. Why one of the girls who hung out with her pulled on the guy's sleeve? Forget her. It's not like Oliver only wants Luna around. I lowered my head. My back was drenched in cold sweat. I didn't know. Was it right or wrong that I didn't stop her? Chapter 16. Camilla didn't come back for the entire day. The next morning, she arrived at school late. Her face was pale, but she forced herself to act like nothing had happened. Quietly sitting in her seat for the first time, she didn't turn around to joke with Oliver. A basketball hit the floor, the loud thud breaking the stillness and making people flinch. Oliver stood in front of me, his tall frame blocking my view. Why didn't you show up at the internet cafe yesterday? The air froze. Every pair of eyes turned toward me. My heart pounded like a drum. I forced myself to lift my head. I wasn't pretending. Real tears welled up from genuine fear. I had an exam yesterday. He narrowed his eyes at me. Luckily, at that very moment, the homeroom teacher walked in. The classroom went quiet. Oliver gave a cold smirk, threw his school jacket over his shoulder, and walked back to his seat. I exhaled in huge, heavy breaths. Finally, the teacher began announcing the test scores. Luna, he paused. Chinese 91, Math 89, English 95, Science Composite 181. Total 456. For 56, I trembled uncontrollably from excitement. I did it. I actually did it. Unlike in my past life, this time I had real grades. This score was enough to get me into a university, enough to escape that family. After finishing the announcements, the teacher began handing back our answer sheets. While I waited, I glanced around and met Oliver's eyes. There was confusion in them and something else I couldn't decipher. Chapter 17. The bell rang. Immediately, someone grabbed my collar. His sharp eyes were like knives. Luna, your test was more important than me? Didn't you say you owed me? Huh? The tears came on their own, driven by fear. I grabbed his wrist, gasping for air, then suddenly threw my arms around him. Please, don't get the wrong idea. He froze for a second, then let go of my collar. Everyone was watching, but I didn't care. The college entrance exam hadn't even arrived yet. I couldn't afford to break down now. Tears streamed down uncontrollably. I choked out my words. I know I'm not good enough for you. Studying is the only way I can improve myself, Oliver. I don't know any other way. Maybe it was all the humiliation from my past life. Since the moment I opened my eyes again, this was the first time I broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. Until Oliver, unsure of what to do, raised his hands in surrender. I looked up. Please, don't misunderstand me. You're the only one who still believes in me. Every word was a lie, but it worked. Oliver finally let his guard down. As he turned to leave, I caught sight of Camilla's hateful glare. My chest tightened, but I had no choice. In this era, for someone from the bottom of the barrel, fairness is just a fantasy. Even wishing for a quiet place to study feels like too much to ask for. Not much longer now. I just have to hold out until the college entrance exam. Chapter 18. I had completely made Camilla my enemy. As expected, they cornered me in the bathroom. A group of girls surrounded me. At the center, Camilla's eyes gleamed with malice. I told you to stay away from Oliver. Can't control yourself being a pathetic little pick-me. Huh? She pointed at me, then suddenly raised her hand to slap me. But my body moved faster than my mind. I blocked her hand, pulled a knife from inside my uniform, and held it against her neck. Yes, I was carrying a knife. Ever since that day I was nearly dragged to the internet cafe, I've carried it with me. It was rusty, but I'd spend hours sharpening it. If I dared, I could absolutely slice through her artery. None of them had ever seen anything like this. They screamed in terror. Camilla's face went pale, but she still grit her teeth. Go ahead then. Stab me, Luna. Let's see if you really dare. I do. I stated calmly. She didn't believe me. She thrashed wildly until the blade grazed the mark on her neck, drawing the faintest trace of blood. The pain hit her. She froze. Her face drained of all color. "What are you trying to do?" I repeated. "Just stop bothering me, okay?" She hadn't expected that. Even now, I would speak with such sincerity. I said, "Don't mess with me anymore. You don't know what it feels like when a blade enters your body. You lose strength instantly. You can't even fight back. Then your body collapses, completely out of control, and the blood just keeps pouring out." I leaned in closer, lowered my voice for the final line. "I really will do it because I've already died once." Chapter 19. They all said I was crazy, but I didn't care. Camilla told the teachers I carried a weapon. A bunch of adults stood in the classroom pressuring me to hand it over. I said I didn't have anything. They searched my backpack, my desk, even my chair. Camilla shrieked. "It's in her clothes. She keeps it on her. She can pull it out anytime." The teachers exchanged glances. None of them moved because of the gender divide and because the girls were all too scared to come near me. We were at a standstill. The homeroom teacher said he'd go get help from the office. Then Oliver kicked his chair back with a loud thud. "What? It's just a body search? In front of everyone?" He ran his hands down the side of my body, swiftly and thoroughly. "Nothing," he said. "It happened so fast. No one even had time to react." The room went still until Oliver kicked the chair again and sat back down. Camilla stood frozen, staring at him in disbelief. After night study, Oliver followed behind me. His gaze heavy and piercing. Suddenly, he asked, "Do you have 2 red moles on your chest?" I froze. A roar filled my ears. The only comfort I had left was the knife still hidden close to my skin. I couldn't speak, but he didn't seem to be waiting for an answer. He frowned, staring at me. "Why? Why do I dream that I married you? Like I was always meant to be with you?" He dreamed about it. My throat tightened. I had no idea what to say. He spat on the ground. "Whatever. I'll see it for myself sooner or later." Chapter 20. That night, I didn't pull the knife. They finally left me alone. They turned the whole class against me. I was the poor girl, the ambitious trash, the desperate who'd go after anyone. None of it mattered. I just needed to study. Every second counted. I squeezed everything into my brain, but no matter how hard I tried, the college entrance exam drew closer. This time, I made sure to answer every question as best I could. Even after checking my answers 3 times, if there was still time, I checked a 4th. This second chance at life, everything rested on this. I gave it everything I had. And when I stepped out of the exam hall, I knew it was different from the last time. The sky was clear. Chapter 21. While waiting for the results, every day at home was chaos. Endless laundry, endless cooking. My mom dumped my little brother on me and finally had time to ask around about the market price for a girl graduating high school. She was very pleased. "Raising you this far wasn't a total waste after all." I pretended I didn't hear her. Every day she nitpicked, trying to find the most suitable buyer, preferably rich, preferably with property. When it was time for the results to come out, I ran out of the house. She yelled after me, cursing. I ran to the supermarket, used my only 50 cents to dial the number etched into my bones. A long, suffocating silence, only the faint static of the phone line. Cold sweat rolled down my forehead. 501, that number with my name attached to it. What? My vision went dark. I felt dizzy until the voice on the phone repeated the score. I pinched my thigh hard. "It's real." "Is it real?" "It has to be real." I made it. I got into college. Chapter 22. When I got back, the kitchen and the floor were still a mess. My mom was yelling again. "Where the hell did you run off to, you ungrateful brat? You're already this old and still wild. If people see you like this, who's going to marry you?" I said, "Mom, I got into college." She froze, then burst into joy. "A college degree, that'll definitely raise her bride price." "I'm not getting married." Her expression stiffened. "What did you say? You're not getting married?" What's a woman like you going to do without a husband? Your dad and I fed and clothed you, and you think you can pay us back without marrying? Are you trying to cut ties with me or something? All familiar lines. I can't even remember how many times I've heard them. It doesn't matter anymore. I told her, I'm going to college. Her voice cut off. College? Easy to say. Where do you think the money's coming from? You think tuition is free? You don't need living expenses? You came from my body. What kind of good college could you possibly get into? We never expected anything from you. She got more and more hysterical. This was the real her, so different from that resigned, tearful act she showed to others. But I had already prepared myself. I stabbed the knife deep into the table. She flinched. What are you doing? I'm going to college. If you won't let me, then we die together. She turned pale and couldn't speak. I told her, I already applied for a student loan. You don't have to pay a thing. But if something happens to me now, you'll be the ones repaying it. What? You borrowed money? Where is it? I let out a long breath, and before my dad came home, I ran as fast as I could. I was afraid he'd use even worse methods once he got back. I'd been given another chance at life. I wasn't going to let anyone drag me back. Chapter 23. The cheapest motel in town cost 15 yuan a night. I paid for it with loan money, lying low, hiding from sight until I finally received my admission letter. My homeroom teacher sighed. Didn't expect it. Luna, you're pretty capable. I gave him a small smile, but I knew deep down this worldly, pragmatic teacher had probably seen through my act long ago. Even if I borrowed Oliver's name to trick him in the beginning. He still helped me, even went as far as to change the mailing address for my admission letter. I thanked him sincerely. Thank you, sir. What choice do people from a background like mine really have? Our classmates threw a graduation dinner. Some people's academic journey ended here. Some would go on further. It didn't really matter, honestly. But I went anyway. When I arrived, the place was already half full. Everyone looked the same. Girls still had long, straight bangs. Boys stretched their hair down as far as they could. I had to admit, Camila looked gorgeous tonight. It was obvious she'd put in effort. By the time I got there, she was already sitting beside Oliver. Chin lifted proudly as she stared at me. Late again? Couldn't afford the bus fare? Yeah. I nodded. Someone tried to ease the tension. I didn't bother responding and sat down at a spot near the door. Oliver stared at me, said nothing. He was always obsessed with saving face, and I had already confessed to him publicly once. Why would he even look at me now? Chapter 24. This time, everyone let loose. Bottles went around. Everyone had a few drinks, except me. Some got emotional, talking about the upcoming goodbyes. Camila's eyes turned red, too. She quietly leaned against Oliver's shoulder. Oliver, I don't want to leave everyone behind. Everyone? You mean you and Oliver won't part ways either? Someone teased. Maybe Camila had made up her mind. Blushing, she reached out and grabbed Oliver's hand. I don't want to be apart from Oliver. It was unclear who started clapping first, but soon everyone joined in. Kiss, 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 they chanted. The atmosphere was electric. Everyone crowded around them. I backed away to a quiet corner, watching calmly. Camila's cheeks were flushed so red they looked like they might bleed. Oliver didn't refuse. Just when the energy peaked, someone whispered, "Didn't Luna confess to Oliver, too? Why is he with someone else now?" The person being asked just smirked and didn't reply. Then Oliver finally snapped out of it. He looked up sharply at me, voice hoarse. "Luna, you're not mad?" Chapter 25. The room fell silent instantly. All eyes turned toward me. I'd had enough. I put down my chopsticks and said, "I only wish you and Camila stay together forever. Till death do you part, never separated." The clueless ones clapped. Those who knew the truth tried to stop them. Oliver's expression darkened. The hell's that supposed to mean? I stood up, pulled 3 crumpled 1 yuan bills from my pocket. In the middle, a single yellow 50-cent coin, 1 bowl of spicy hot pot, 1 tea egg. You once saved my life. Here's my repayment. Someone suddenly remembered, hey, didn't Luna get into college? Yes, I did. It wasn't the best university, but it was far, far from this town, far enough that Oliver couldn't reach me, far enough that my parents couldn't either. And that was more than enough for me. I nodded proudly, enunciating each word. Oliver, in this lifetime, I'm not rotting in the mud with you. Before anyone could react, I yanked open the door and ran. For the first time, I spent money to ride the little donkey cart through town, straight to the bus station. I was leaving. Finally, I was getting out of here. Chapter 26. Loan, a terrifying word. At least, in my past life, I avoided it like the plague. But this time, I walked that road willingly. Besides the student loans, I worked part-time jobs to slowly chip away at the debt. And then I did something bold. I used every cent I could borrow to buy unwanted land in the city. The people helping with the paperwork all thought I was insane, but only I knew in 10 years those plots would skyrocket in value. Yes, debt was painful, but this time, I wasn't just some hot pot shop girl. I was working 3 part-time jobs. Exhausting, but it was enough to cover long-term payments and still feed myself until one day my parents showed up at my university. Supporting each other, they sobbed about how I'd left without a word, called me ungrateful. Still, they said they'd take me back as long as I agreed to get married. Or, I could give my university slot to my little brother. I didn't know how to explain their ignorance, so I pulled out my loan documents in front of them. Page after page of massive debt figures. Their eyes nearly popped out of their heads. I told them, sure, I'll get married. That way there'll be one more person helping me repay this debt. Unless you want to be sued for fraud. My mom freaked out, demanded I hand over the loan money. They'd lost everything gambling. They didn't believe me, but they found nothing when they searched me. Eventually, word spread. People realized I was really doing 3 jobs and paying off the loans myself. They cursed me for wasting the bride price they never even received. But they were desperate. Before they left, I gave them a little lecture. If I default on the loans, then the debt becomes yours and Lu Yaozu's, too. They stared at each other in horror. Finally, for the first time in her life, my mother made a decision. We're cutting ties. Taking it to court. From now on, you're not my daughter. Chapter 27. I never expected it. Those loan contracts easily got me the severance letter I wanted from my parents. Technically, it didn't have any legal power to sever family ties, but I figured it'd be enough to keep them off my back for a while. I'd still fulfill my duty of financial support, but from now on, they'd have no say in my life. And that felt wonderful. Chapter 28. It didn't take long. The land I bought was purchased by the state right after I graduated college. I kept part of the money for living expenses and invested the rest in real estate. I didn't know when those areas would be developed or by whom. All I cared was that I'd never lose on it, and I had all the patience in the world. That year, I found out what happened back home through QQ. Camila and Oliver didn't even last a few years after getting married. The spicy hot pot shop went under quickly. Camila couldn't handle the pressure of running it. The town opened a big food court, squeezing out all the small businesses. And somehow, Oliver got into gambling again. He had worked for a few years, but once he started losing, he quit and spent all his time at underground casinos. When he ran out of money, he went to Camila. She had nothing to give, so he tried to pawn her off. The town wasn't big, and the scandal spread like wildfire. Camila ran away. No one knows where she went. With nothing left to pawn, Oliver started taking out loans like everyone else around him. He had a few happy days, then lost it all again. Times were changing. The old connections he used to rely on. No one dared speak for him anymore. He was hopeless. One night, he got jumped. His legs were broken. He lost his mind. He'd scream out of nowhere. How could this happen? Where's Luna? Where did Luna go? My wife was supposed to be Luna. She bought me off with just 3 yuan and 50 cents. How could she? Luna. Luna. Chapter 29. I knew it. Oliver had remembered. He remembered our past life. Lying in my one-bedroom apartment, fully under my name, I couldn't help but think darkly. Good. Let him remember. That way, as he sinks and struggles in the mud, he'll suffer even more. As for me, I've long outgrown my past self. I have my own life now. I'm busy. This city grows fast. Skyscrapers rise like weeds. I can't even keep up with signing contracts, much less sell off all that useless land I bought years ago. It's a hassle, I thought. Maybe it's time to switch to buying apartments. There's still 10 years to go. Prices will keep skyrocketing in another 7 or 8 years. I can probably sell them off and finally be financially free. That's what I believe. I don't have any special talent, only this one chance, a gift from fate to live again, and I will hold on to it with everything I've got. I will treasure it.